I was fast, the fastest in Two Fort, but one stray pellet from a heavy bot, and suddenly I'm walking in cement shoes. You double jump just to keep your head on your shoulders? Maron, forget about it. That's a 75% speed tax. The BFB don't care if you live or die. It only cares about the rules of the family. And the rule is, stay on the ground, or you're walking in glue, slow and guilty. In this business, respect is everything. But the BFB, it don't give you no respect. You do all the work. You're working hard, boosting cash from Gray Man and his goons, and if you get pinched, your speed is sleeping with the fishes. But this is the life I chose. This is the respect I get, and this is exactly how I ended up here, talking to a schmuck like you about the business. Funny, ain't it? I suppose I should start the story from the beginning, back when I was on top, with a full boost meter and any prospect I could want lined up. My name is
20 years in the can.
And ever since I was a kid, I knew I wanted to use the Babyface's blaster. First things first, picking a job. Crew laid out 4 of them, each one uglier than the last. Mecha engine, circus act. Crit bots, sentries, rat snipers, whole thing's a joke. Steel trap, that's small time. I don't get out of bed for pocket change. I needed a job with some actual meat on the bone. Gear grinder, liability. One bad wave and my boost is gone, cash scattered everywhere, and I'm the idiot trying to chase it down at half speed. That leaves me with one choice, returning to the big city. The 2 big cities. 2 cities, that's where I went. It was perfect. Rottenberg had lots of open fields for me to see how well the speed really works at avoiding damage in MvM, and Manhattan has verticality to test to see if I can get the boost back after leaping up to tune some of Gray Man's guys up. Would also be fun taking a few shots at Big Salvatore Sir Nukes-a-lot. I didn't know what to expect going into it, exactly. I've done the work hundreds of times, but never with the BFB like this. It ain't never been good in MvM, especially now after the feds cut its stats and left it limping. Made the job tougher than it had any right to be.
Now here's where the job really starts. Empire escalation. Manhattan. First leg of the tour. Not hard, not easy. Just the kind of job where a guy like me can make a statement. Manhattan ain't exactly friendly to the BFB. Too many angles, too many high grounds, too many places to get clipped and lose your boost. But it's got one thing I needed. Bodies. Lots of them. Plenty of targets to squeeze for speed. And that's the trick with this gun. You don't get respect. You take it. Every pellet's a handshake. Every meat shot's a negotiation. You keep your boost up, you keep the boys happy, and you keep the cash off the pavement. I wasn't here just to pick up the money, though. I was here to prove something. To make a name for myself. To show the family I could do serious damage with a gun that don't even respect me back. But history don't matter when you start a fresh mission. You walk in with nothing. You earn everything. You gotta put in the work, squeeze a few targets, and build your rep before you can really run in these streets. One mistake. That's all it takes. One copper catches you napping, or you get greedy trying to jump over your problems, and suddenly, you're back in the gutter with the rest of them. Giant Jimmy thought he owned these streets, but he's slow, and slow means you're my target. I ran circles around him until he didn't know which way was up. My suit was a mess afterwards, though. I was the best bagman the family had ever had. By the time the smoke cleared, the streets were clean. Not a single cent left for the feds to find. Plenty of cash for me and the boys to fit ourselves with upgrades. And once those upgrades hit, the BFB started talking back. Boosts coming quicker, pellets hitting harder. For the first time all day, it felt like the gun wasn't just a liability. It felt like it wanted to make a name for itself, too. And that's the thing about this business, kid. The moment you start feeling untouchable is the moment the streets decide to teach you a lesson. You clear one mess, and Gray Man's already cooking up the next. And me, I was just getting started. Rottenberg awaits. But before this Rottenberg job, I gotta check the word on the streets. In my line of work, every job, every mistake, every scrap of cash you scoop off the pavement, it all gets written down somewhere. Maybe not on paper, maybe not in ink, but in the minds of the people watching, and the oil we spilled. My associates tell me last week everyone was talking about their least favorite threads. the kind you wouldn't be caught dead wearing in front of the boss. Its jack-and-a-half said the ugliest hat is a clown's cover-up. Bonus points for when it's paired with the Popeyes. That's a pretty ugly one. I'm not a fan of the potassium bonnet myself. But this week, kid, I want to know your business. Which underpowered TF2 weapon deserves a buff? Leave your wisdom in the comments. The family reads everything. Rottenberg. That's where things started to go belly up. Not at first, of course. I was flying high after that first mission. I felt like I understood the BFB. She was kicking like a mule, and she did the same thing on Hamlet Hostility, too. I'd lose some boost. Who cares? I'll get it right back. I'll keep supporting my guys with the milk. I'll run in for a mark on the big guys faster than Vinny runs in for Sunday gravy. I'll admit it. I was getting cocky. Spybots couldn't catch me no matter how hard they tried. I'd chase down super scouts with no sweat. That bomb wasn't getting away from me. All the upgrades, too. We were absolutely rolling in it. Of course, that's in part because I never bought no resistances. They can hardly hit me, I said. I had a bad case of, hubris? At least that's what my pops always told me. But he was a conniving backstabber. Still, though, doesn't mean he was wrong. But I was never going to come to my senses after the big part of the job. Big Salvatore Cern nukes a lot. He sent down a few of his lieutenants first. They didn't give us no trouble. Don't even know why he promoted those guys. Stugats. Then this big mother came down, shaking the earth as he walked, lumbered more like. Had to hit harder than a truck. Knocked a few of the guys around. Not me, though. Felt like I could outrun his shots. And I could, too. He went down with the biggest boom you ever heard in your life. Then came the tanks. Back in the war, this is all me and my squad did, so that part went off without a hitch. It wasn't until Bot Bash that I really got that rude awakening. This one was tough. From the first wave, I couldn't keep boost to save my life. Spent the better part of the mission trudging. It was tiresome. The BFB, the old girl wasn't singing in key no more. It was like the horn needed a new reed or something. She was angry at me, that much was clear. I spent the first part of the mission not too rattled, but it kept getting worse. These little scout bots, oh mio Dio, kept chipping away at my boost. I started getting angry, and getting angry is bad. Getting angry is when you get stupid. Of course, I was never real smart. If I was, I would have married my high school sweetheart and sold patio furniture or something. But that ain't the life for me. I knew I was right where I belong. Still, though, there's levels to it, and I was reaching the bottom, fast. Every wave harder than the last. The upgrades weren't helping nothing. Even thought of buying run speed just to feel something again. Wave 6 happened. All those damn crits being thrown left and right. All the overheal in the world didn't mean nothing if you ain't buying crit resist to stop it. Staunch the flow, Doc calls it. I must have been knocked on my ass half a dozen times at least. Never been beat so hard in all my life. And you thought that was bad? The last wave was even worse. Usually guys like me skip out on that last wave. Get another heavy hitter in there to seal the deal. But I was stuck where I was. No subbing me out, not at that point. And still had nothing to defend myself with but this ungrateful mistress, the source of all my anger. The BFB, still there, trying to tell me something. Something that I couldn't hear or understand. We start off with the tank. Easy pickings, I thought. I hop on top of the Stunad. We pick it apart and salvage all the metal for some early overheal. Then the big guys come, along with their Uber meds. Left and right they drop down, trying to flank us. I recognized it, but couldn't do nothing about it. The crew and me, we barely made it out of there with our lives. But nobody was closer to biting it than me, and nobody else was as apprehensive as me about the next part. I should have ditched him then and there, because the reward that was promised to me, that was the real crime. Before I had time to gather my wits, we were already back in the big city, back in Manhattan. One last job to do before I can ditch this broad they call the Babyface's Blaster and move on to something with more class. They called this one Metro Malice. Malice is right. These bots were angry and out for blood. And me and the boys, we were out for something else entirely. First salvo didn't have nothing too crazy. Some black Scottish Japs that were nearly as fast as me flying around. Had to respect their guts. Wasn't until late in that first wave that I finally saw the writing on the wall. Big soldier with a dozen docks attached at the hip. Lucky for us, we had a guy for that. The kind who sees a dozen docks and calls it a warm-up. We knocked him over. Then we knocked over his twin brother, too. You had to be there. Not long after that fiasco, some big scouts come running in hot. Then a big group running in from the side. I did what I could to get rid of them. They were heading right for the gate. I'm fighting with the BFB the whole time. She still ain't forgiving me for whatever I did wrong. Come on, baby, work with me here, I beg her. My cries fall on deaf ears. Very next wave, Major Crits comes to play. This guy was tough as nails. And then more scouts come trying to sneak the bomb off up top. You should have seen the look on Crit's face when I scooped up some boosts and ran off to personally deal with his 2-bit bag runners. Like lightning in a bottle I was. Then comes Chief Blast. This guy don't hit too hard, but he bats you around like a cat toy. Especially a skinny guinea like me. And he hit a lot harder when you're a cheapskate. I had no business going toe-to-toe with this cat. But I did. I laid into him, asking him, "What are you looking at?" By this point, my mood was turning up. Me and the boys were getting closer and closer to payday. I could taste the gold we were after. Last wave runs up. Another big soldier. I say to myself, let the boys handle it. I'll take care of the fat guys up top. The pyros too. They take a lot of beating, but I can always outrun them. After some waiting around, bots getting thinner, danger dropping off, that's the part nobody tells you about. The quiet, the calm, the moment right before the universe decides to spit in your face. Some of the black box boys come trickling down, one by one, with their big doctors. Me and the crew laughed them out of town. The job was done. The loot was a joke. A big scoop of nothing for a week of bruises and bad decisions. I yelled at the boss, sure. But in this business, you don't yell at the boss unless you're ready to disappear. So I ran, straight to the feds. Better a rat than a corpse buried next to that ungrateful mistress they call the Babyface's blaster. And that's how I ended up here. Laying low, keeping quiet, telling my story to a kid who wandered too close to the truth. You keep this between us, because if the family finds out I talked, well, let's just say I ain't outrunning nothing without that boost meter anymore. So thus ends the story of 20 years in the can. Had a lot of fun making this video and using the BFB, and I wanted to give my thoughts on it after a single tour. The Babyface's blaster is in a weird spot. It was once hated, now mostly forgotten, and honestly pretty balanced these days, maybe just a little on the weak side. In MvM though, it's awkward at best. Losing boost every time you take damage makes your speed swing wildly, and losing boost for jumping means the scout's best defensive habit gets punished. Puts the weapon in a conflicting state for MvM severely. You're either too fast to aim properly, or too slow to escape, and the gun never feels quite consistent. But it performed better than I had expected. On Damage Scout, it's not recommended, but it's perfectly serviceable. Not great, not absolutely terrible, but just fine. If you want to see a weapon that actually pulls its weight, check out my Mad Milk video or any of the full tours with a more standard primary. And I'd also like to quickly address, for the long-time viewers, as few of them as there may be, that the alt account has mostly run its course. I really only started the series with a new account to test the new account luck theory, and after 12 tours, I kind of feel like that's been disproven. And I don't like scattering my stats and tour count among an account I ultimately don't care about, but that's just me. I'll still be keeping the new account for special cases, but the rest of the series is going to be on my main account. But thanks for watching, everybody. This one was a blast to make, a lot of writing, a lot of editing, and definitely the most ambitious episode I've done so far. If you've enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like, drop your thoughts in the comments, or answer the question of the day. I read all of them. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I've got more Australian Hunt episodes on the way, and I'm always trying to push the style and storytelling a little further each time. Have a wonderful day. Bye now.